Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is having a great day. We're here. I'm going to be here with Bill, just waiting for him to come on, and we're going to be talking about Kratom tonight. There's Logan. We'll get Logan up here. He will be a guest speaker tonight. Says we're adding you.
Hello.
Hi, Logan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm Jesse, by the way.
Hi, man. Nice to meet you. Thank you for
You as
having me
well.
on. Yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
never done this on Facebook before. I wasn't really sure what I was doing here, but
Oh,
I got it figured out.
yeah, it's not too bad. We'll get Bill up here. There he is. We'll get this going.
Sounds like a plan.
How was your day?
Good. How about you?
It was good. I live in Colorado. It's been hot.
Are you lucky? Lucky dog.
I
What
try.
up? Luke?
What's up, Bill? How are you?
What's up? How are you?
Never better, brother.
Good. Good to hear.
Your
Good to,
instructions they came in handy.
did you figure it out?
It's kinda. Yeah, I think so.
I thought you
So,
would.
mm,
I had faith in you, Logan. I
yeah,
always do.
at least someone does.
Yeah.
So,
How are you doing, Bill?
Not bad. Just trying to get everything put back together still.
You haven't gotten it done yet?
I haven't been down here for a minute. We got so
Slack,
much.
man.
I've been swamped.
It's a
did
good
you get the
problem
new
to
place
have.
yet?
No, that's part of me being swamped. So we're just waiting for the closing date. They got all the paperwork's done and everything, and then there was some other things that had to come back from inspections and the appraisal. So that's all back. We were supposed to close Monday and list past Monday, but with the appraisal coming back a little later than they expected, it set everything back. So I'm hoping to hear from them tonight or first thing tomorrow on a day.
That's
I
good.
was, I was hoping it would be Friday or Monday so that I could at least, well, Friday would have put me up there for the weekend, but I'll see what next week brings with the whole thing.
Yep.
We got some people on if you want to. As you all know, Bill, Jesse's above me there. Logan's to your right of me. Um, I wanted to make sure that we got time to do something about Kratom. It's a new thing to a lot of people. And what better way of doing it than to have somebody talk about it that has experience in it? So I've been looking forward to Logan talking everywhere that I go because he had the experience with the Kratom. He's a younger guy, and that's who it's going to target. And Logan's just an all around good dude. And when I seen him, I just knew that he was going to make it out of this. He was in the recovery center I worked at. If you don't mind me saying that, it's too late now anyway, so fuck off. Um,
No HIPAA.
ex HIPAA.
Yeah.
But Logan was
We'll cut
there
that out.
when I met him, and I was like, you're going with me for the full ride. Logan's going to be on the podcast. Logan's going to be whatever. But I want him to get the word out there from what he knows because a lot of people like don't know a lot about it. A lot of people never heard of it. A lot of people think that kratom is okay by itself as long as I don't have the 7OH. And I just want to get some clarity on anything that we can. And I'm sure just not only with his own experience, I'm sure Logan researched a little bit because that's what he does. So I'm expecting him to know a little bit about kratom here. So, without further ado, I want to introduce everybody to Logan, and me and Jesse could ask you some questions, and you could tell us what you know. And even if anybody out there wants to dive in and ask Logan a question or whatever, feel free.
Yeah, put it
Just
in the chat, and we just
yeah,
want to welcome everybody that's here. We already have a good audience here. And thanks for joining us tonight on such an important topic. I'm Bill does an inpatient program. I work an outpatient program, and I'm sure we both see a lot of this in and out of
It's
treatment.
over 10% of our residents right now.
Exactly. So, I'm definitely excited to hear from Logan as well, because I've never done Kratom. It wasn't around in my day. So,
It's
Well,
fortunate.
there you are, Kratom, jumping that Kratom. There you are, Logan, jumping that Kratom spotlight.
Oh my.
It's all yours, brother. So,
Well,
first, just come in and tell us a little about you.
oh no, I'm losing connection. All right, there we go.
There you are. Okay.
What'd you say?
I said, come in and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so my name is Logan Kramer. I'm 23. I unfortunately have had a couple of years of experience with this substance, both Kratom and 7-OH, which I'm sure we'll get into the distinction there. But I have a story that's very similar to a lot of people in that there was nothing in my upbringing. I had a loving family. Um, I always had, I always got everything that I needed, everything that I wanted, and it was a very loving, caring environment. And there was really no indicator that I would be susceptible to something like this. And I've got four siblings, big home, loving home, and I played hockey for the better part of 15 years. That's where, unfortunately, I had experience with opiates due to injury. And after hockey was over, I went to school. I got a degree in biochemistry from IUP. And
4.0. 4.0.
yeah, 4.0. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So unfortunately, I began this addiction while I was taking classes that would exactly demonstrate what was happening in my own brain. And so, like, the example that I always bring up is I remember giving a presentation on opiate addiction while at that point I was effectively addicted to opiates. Now, in the moment, I thought, well, it's not that bad, it's whatever. If I understand it, I can get around it. Like, I'm just messing around. But of course, that didn't happen. Things got much worse from then on. But the point being is, I feel like in the context of the chemistry, the science behind kratom, and my own personal experience, unfortunately, I got the best of both worlds. And so um, it's unfortunate it had to be that way, but I do believe everything does happen for a purpose. And if I can use this platform, other platforms, to better educate people and help prevent fellow kids my age and younger from getting looped into this, as so many of us have been, then that's the purpose behind all of this. So that's kind of the background on me.
So, what, how'd you find Kratom?
Well, I was at a friend's house and there was just a bag on the table. Now, I tried it, I'd heard about it here and there. I had really no idea what it was. Um, and I tried it. It was disgusting. It was the powdered form of kratom. But I still remember, even in that moment, I still felt a little bit of the opiate effect, which I always equate it to, you know, when you take an opiate and you don't have tolerance and it's all new to you. It's, to me, it feels like with that feeling when you're under a blanket, it's Christmas Eve, you're by the fire, the presents are all out, like it's just this warm, cozy hug feeling. And of course, it's a complete mirage. Of course, it'll tear your life apart, but I still felt a bit of that. And so I was always curious from then on. But even after that, I didn't use Kratom for a few more months after the first time I tried it. But then one day I went into a smoke shop to get a vape, and I saw it on the shelves. And I remembered how it felt, and I thought, whatever, I'll try it again. And then pretty much immediately it spiraled into every single day. Um, and that was with the regular kratom powder, which many would say is not as bad. Um, but in many respects, it's actually can be worse. But that's how I began to experiment with it. But really, it wasn't even an experiment; it was almost immediate, where things kind of spiraled.
Tried it
And
once, and
so,
it was as soon as you tried it the second time, you just went back to it, and it was every day
yep,
because you were getting focused, you were attentive, you were focused, you were on point,
right, and
and that's how
that's a
they sell
really
it.
right, and that's how it's marketed. Of course, it's completely unregulated. None of the claims are verified. There's no inspection or protocol or anything that needs to be abided by these companies. And the interesting thing about kratom is that in low doses, it has a stimulant effect, which is due to basically it's like an opiate in that it works on opiate receptors, but it also works on adrenaline and serotonin receptors. So in low doses, you actually it's almost like it gets you up and going and it's energy and all that, but almost immediately at higher doses, then it turns into more of an opiate. And that's immediately kind of what I went to. I started taking a lot because I felt the same effect that I had before.
Just like
Um,
any 18 to 25-year-old would do.
right, exactly. Um, it just so happened that it was right up the road, and it's a shame, but that's immediately even with the regular kratom powder, which isn't as potent, it was immediately a full on addiction. I didn't realize it until it was too late.
So if
So.
you heard someone today telling a 20-year-old college student that's getting ready for finals, hey, take kratom in the morning before your tests and everything, and you'll be way more focused, what advice would you give them?
I mean, I would just say it's difficult because I'd like to think that, I would have had the sense to know, like, okay, this is in a gas station, probably something else to it. But also knowing me, I wouldn't have listened to any advice. But I would just say, look into it before you try it. Before you ingest something, look into what it actually is. Don't take the guy working at the gas station's word for it. Look up people's testimonials about the experiences they've had with this. Look up the research articles about it. Just try to be a little more educated with what you're putting in your body. You know, that's what I would tell them.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So,
Well, it says here, 2016, there were 660 calls to U.S. poison centers, and that was in 2016.
10 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't give me a number for today.
So how long do you think you was like a steady everyday user?
So I would say, um, probably a little over 2 years,
Oh, okay.
with little intermittent stops and attempts at quitting that lasted a few days, and then I would be right back into it.
Now they lasted a few days because of the um I can't think of the word. You know what I'm talking about. Because it
The
made you sick
withdrawal.
and yeah, because of the withdrawal. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Two people sitting there staring at me with the word right in front of them.
Well, we're waiting for you to get it.
Come
Yeah.
on. Um, so did you notice withdrawals immediately the first time you tried to stop it, or and it took you right back to using it because that's the only way you felt better?
Right. And it was especially compounded by the fact that I was still in school. So, I can't, I'd rationalize it by like, well, I just need to get out of school. Because things really only got bad the last, I'd say, semester and a half.
Hmm.
So, like, initially when I try to quit, it would be, it was really, really uncomfortable. And to be honest, though, in comparison to what would come later with the 7OH and the more concentrated forms, it was nothing. But I didn't have that reference point. I never went through withdrawal before. I was never addicted to anything before besides nicotine. But it was it was like nothing I'd experienced before. So I just rationalized it and said, well, not this time. I can quit, you know,
Right.
at X or Y date any time to continue justify using it. You know, so
Everybody's done the same thing with different substances.
right. Mhm.
Yeah, you don't want to hit that withdrawal point.
Now,
When
at
you're
this
feeling like
point,
that.
whenever you seen it in the vape shop and you started using it daily, did you know anything about straight kratom, 7OH?
To be honest, no, I mean, I'd heard of it. I'd heard just here and there, like random Reddit posts. I remember reading about it, but nothing at all, like no actual knowledge about what it was. Um, so no.
Did you, as you went forward with this, did you start using it with 7OH because somebody told you about it? Did you trip over it? Did you buy it by accident?
Nope. I went into a smoke shop to get a vape again, and I was given a free sample of it. And of course, I took it.
Oh, right.
Um, I have a anecdote I don't love to remember, but it is what happened. I remember taking it when I got back because they had these like little tablets. They sell single packs of them, and I remember going home and I took it, and I immediately within a half hour I was like, "This is way too good. Like this is a problem, and this is going to be a major problem." But then within a couple hours, I went right back and I bought the rest of what they had there
They
of it.
had their.
It was it. It was right off to the races immediately, and I knew it too. I knew it. This is way too good. It's way too accessible. You're telling me this is right down the street?
Mhm.
This is
But
not good.
the way too good weighed out the this is going to be a problem.
Right, right. I want to feel like this all the time, and I'll do whatever it takes to feel like that.
That's that dopamine rush in it.
Hmm.
Wow.
Very
And
much so.
it's if it hits within 30 minutes, I mean, it's an easy go to.
Yep, yep. And I was I was
Yeah,
just in
tell us about it.
amazement.
Like take us to through it.
Um, Essentially, it's because I had very limited experience with traditional opiates in high school. Because I got injured in hockey, I was given them. I remember the feeling. So then anytime my buddies would have some, I'd get some. But it was never. I was always like, well, this will never be a problem because I'm never going to the street. I can't go to the street. I'm not like those people. I'll never be one of those people. And so immediately when I took the 7OH, it was like all of the feelings that I remember came back. It was your traditional opiate high. I was itching, my pupils were non existent, I was falling asleep at the desk. I was in amazement that this was available, that this was,
Over the counter.
yeah, it was that accessible. Um, so that's really it. It's just a traditional opiate high effect.
Not obviously, there's no limit to how much you can buy.
No, no.
Yeah.
Those, I mean, it's especially predatory because when I got to a point where I was buying so much every single day, then they'd look out for you and they'd give you deals, right? You're gonna drop $200, well then you're gonna get a free pack, because they're looking out for you and all that, right?
Yeah, they're looking out
So
for you.
It's the
right,
hookup, man.
Hmm.
mm-hmm. That's right, the plug. They serve me well,
Yeah,
so
because you served them well.
exactly, I was their best customer. Yeah.
Yep.
But once you decide, how'd you figure out? Hey, I need to get off of this stuff.
Um. So it requires a little bit of a backstory.
Go for it.
It had of course gotten to a point where it was completely unmanageable, where I began to do things that I never otherwise would have done, that I never did my whole life before that, stealing, lying, cheating, all that, right? And it got to the point where the family found out, and it was, this is like addict stuff. Like, you are out of control. Like, you need to stop. And I thought, well, yeah, but really it was, I need to stop because I'm harming my relationships versus I need to stop for my own good. You know what I mean? Um, and so the feeling that I had, because I was a pretty heavy user. I go on Reddit and I read these testimonials, and I can count maybe a handful of ones that were taking more than I was. So I'm a really extreme case, unfortunately. And when I tried to do this at home, when I tried to quit at home, I just remember I could barely talk because for whatever reason my voice was just like, I was so emotional, sweating profusely, then freezing, throwing up. endless muscle twitches and aches and all this, and just being completely unable to sleep. Every social interaction, even just talking to my parents, would be like the most excruciating, anxiety-inducing experience, and it was hell. And it just got to a point where after a few days of that, you're just like, I'll literally do anything, and it's right up the road. So, you know, it kind of gave me an insight into alcoholics because alcohol's everywhere. This stuff's everywhere, and just I can never put into words how um, debilitating of an experience it is to try to get off of this for me, and for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Just the most depressing, saddening, excruciating experience you can imagine.
Now, one thing that stood out to me in the conversation was whenever you went from straight kratom to 70H, you went from being completely awake and alert all the time to nodding off in class.
Yeah.
So the 70H kind of knocked you out.
Okay, so um, just for a little bit of background context,
That's, yeah.
I didn't try 70H until after I graduated,
Okay.
but I had graduated from the kratom powder to the kratom extracts, which is a whole nother topic. But basically, they're more concentrated kratom powder. So there's like three tiers to it, right? I was in the second tier in school, and there were times where I was in class. Um, but even on the extracts of kratom, I was still able to keep it together enough. Um, but then the 70H, I mean, I'd be, uh, you know, just nodding off in the morning. It was just, it was completely unmanageable. And it was, looking back, I think my family realizes how noticeable it was. They just didn't know what to look out for. You know what I mean? They didn't realize what was happening. They didn't look, they didn't understand because we don't have experience with this really, in
Now,
terms of opiates. So,
I got a question because of what you just said. And this is for clarity to because a lot of people out there don't know about it. And I'm just trying to get as much solid information as I can. You said nodding off in the morning. Does that mean you woke up and took kratom in the morning, or you just instantly wanted to nod off because your day just sucked because
The night
of
before.
doing kratom the night before that?
no, it was first thing in the morning. And by the end of it, um, I would go to bed at midnight and I'd wake up at 4 in the morning in withdrawals. I would be sweating.
4 hours
I'd be
later.
anxious. 4 hours later, that's it. It's terrible, for lack of a better word. I mean, I couldn't sleep a full night at all. Um, and all of this at your local gas station. So
That's what's crazy about the whole thing is like everything that we're hearing and learning about this is it's not regulated. Like you could go get as much of it as you want at any given moment. And that's
and
what, you know, I mean, there Iowa just sent something to Senate today. I think Tennessee did last week or Louisiana did last week. There's people it's starting to turn and there's certain states out there starting to regulate it. But I mean, 2 out of 50, come on.
right,
We need more to follow through.
yeah, I believe that in terms of total bans, I believe Florida did. I believe Ohio did, and I know
Okay.
there's certain counties in Missouri, and like you said, Iowa and Tennessee. Like it is starting to get around. Um, but in terms of the scope of the effect that this is going to have, it's not nearly enough. And the FDA came out in July, when I was in treatment for the first time. I remember my parents visited, and sorry, and my dad said that the FDA was looking into cracking down on it, and then they promised that they would be banned soon. But there's been nothing really ever
Right.
since. There have been raids of certain manufacturing plants of it. I think like three or four of them. And in those raids, they found like explosives and firearms and all that. Like, there's who knows what the origins of this are, but there's definitely not nearly enough being done about it
Right.
on the legislative level.
From what I see, is it's from a tree in Southeast
Yeah,
Asia,
it is
so that's
plant
where it
based.
comes from. Is Asia originally, but it's like what I see here. FDA just encourages more research behind it. That's all they say about it.
Yeah.
You
And I
know,
wonder if with the factories having explosives and firearms and everything, it makes you wonder if they're expecting this to get so popular that it's going to be a territorial type of, um, I don't know.
I could see that. I see what you're saying there. And it could be that new wonder drug, right? That
It's,
everybody's
I
looking
mean,
for.
I think
And
it's going to be regardless of regulation.
yeah.
And I think just us talking about it might show people that, even if it becomes illegal and you still, that's going to, so, so our younger generation gets exposed to drugs and alcohol early. And, those are the ones that, um, are going to learn how bad it is. But there's also that handful of that age group that whenever something becomes illegal, that entices them to go after it more.
Yep.
So if we could tell you how sick the shit's going to make you whenever you don't want to do it anymore, maybe that'll deter you from even picking it up, which is my goal.
hmm
Yeah,
And
likewise.
that would be that
I know
that
it's your
other
goal.
that'd be the other question for Logan is, I know we went into a little bit of the withdrawals, but how did the withdrawals from regular Kratom to Kratom 7.0 look? How are those different? Because I've heard
Um,
there's a difference there.
there is. So the withdrawals from kratom powder itself, they're not nearly as intense. They're much more manageable. But the there's also the component of the half lives. So that's the rate at which the drug is removed from your system. 7OH has a half life of, I think, 3 to 6 hours, whereas regular kratom powder has a half life of, it's a really wide range. Like there's really no set amount, but it's at least 2 days to 5 days. So the withdrawal from regular kratom, although it's not as bad, it is prolonged, like 3, 4 times as long as the withdrawal from 7OH is. And so we're talking about months
Yeah.
of post acutes and everything. And so, no, it wasn't nearly as bad. All of those symptoms that I talked about were still there, just, at a tenth of the scale or the magnitude. But it would go on for so long that eventually I just was like, I'm so sick of feeling like this, you know? And so,
I've heard up to
although,
like a month, if not more, of a withdrawal.
yeah, yep. And there's also cases, and I've known people in treatment, not really known, but I was aware of them, that went through psychosis during the kratom withdrawal or 7OH withdrawal. There was an individual that was there last time I was in treatment who was hallucinating because he was older, and that's all that he was in there for was 7OH, and he was hallucinating. Because this drug acts on so many of those different receptors, it really just throws your whole system, your whole body into chaos. And so, yeah, it's not as severe, but it also is much longer. So it's kind of a pick your poison sort of deal.
By just
I
talking about, sorry, Jess,
Go ahead.
by just talking about the withdrawals and everything like that, you know as well as I do, whenever you go into a recovery center, you have 5 to 7 days, sometimes 9 or 10 days of detox. And you're talking about the withdrawal symptoms lasting so long. Do you think that whenever recovery centers start getting more and more kratom patients in, that they're going to be in detox longer than the regular average opioid, heroin alcoholic?
Yeah, yeah, and it's tricky because it won't present as severe as a heroin user or 7OH or anything like that. It won't be as intense, but um, in terms of the psychological effect and how long it will take them to get back to a baseline where you can evaluate them, like as a sober person and get the psych evals and everything, it's at least going to be 2 weeks if they're a
Sure.
heavy user. So yeah,
And I
it's
would
definitely going
think,
to take
like,
longer.
as much as I'm not a fan of kratom or kratom with the 7OH, I would think the recovery centers are going to get more kratom users that are more 7-OH than straight kratom,
Mhm.
because I
Yeah,
think the 7-OH part's what's going to put them over the edge to go to a recovery center,
right.
because the kratom's eventually going to lead to 7-OH. If you want to stay on kratom, you're going to get used to it after a while. Your body's going to get used to it, and you're going to move on to 7-OH, or you're just going to want something more because you're still chasing that first high.
Exactly. Yep.
And
Yep.
especially somebody coming off, or even an opioid user, or somebody that used opioids in the past, the first time they felt that 7-OH feeling, like you were saying, like it's it's an over the counter way that they could be feeling, just like they took something that should have been a prescription.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I've had clients they come up positive for Suboxone and Kratom, so they're mixing it, and they have no idea what those effects are going to look like, and realistically, you're just creating a stronger induced high, I guess. Wouldn't matter if it's from the Suboxone or the Kratom, because now you're
Right.
joining the two that do the same thing essentially. So yeah,
Right.
I
And
can see that, and I could probably see a lot of people going from the 7-O to fentanyl.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so you're seeing these jumps. I would love to see the detoxes keep people longer in detox. I don't know about your guys' state, but we're so booked out. They got waiting lists and everything else that it's just such a fast turnaround. I don't know if they would try to keep anybody in for 2 weeks.
right.
A lot of times you're lucky to get 3 to 7 days out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, people
So
that come in detox only, they already have the light at the end of the tunnel to bail out, and then we see them later on, later throughout the month or whatever, they end up coming back because detox just straight detox doesn't work.
No.
If it worked for you, you were completely lucky. Um, I do have a very close friend that came in as a detox only patient that is still sober to this day, and I mean, it worked. He works the program,
Yeah.
but it worked. Um, so yeah. But yeah, that's interesting on the whole withdrawal thing, because it just brought my brain to detox, and then patience and detox, and had me wondering, like, are we gonna have to treat these any different? And
mhm.
then what Jesse said about, moving on to fentanyl after that, then you get, you hate to say it, but it's reality. You're gonna get fentanyl deaths,
Yeah.
but it'll never get labeled as a kratom death. And if they started with
Right.
kratom and led on to fentanyl, it's a fentanyl death. But let's really lay out the roadmap here. Where did it really stem from?
Yeah.
If
Right.
I
And
if that happened and I wanted to blame and point the finger at a person or a substance that did it, I'm going to blame kratom.
right. And I have a personal anecdote with that. So, you'll hear more about this tomorrow, Bill, but um unfortunately, when I went to treatment for the first time, it was not my own choice necessarily. I didn't realize that rehab was an option. I thought that was for rich celebrities. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that was an option. And so it had gotten to a point where I could barely make it through the weekend with each of my paychecks. And things were just so bad. And I was so sick of being sick and tired. I'd gotten to the point where I was willing to go downtown and find what I needed on the street with the next paycheck that I got, and that happened to be on a Friday. That's the same Friday that my family intervened and took me to treatment. And so,
Possibly saved
very
your life,
well,
dude. They saved your
exactly.
life.
And so, very well, I could have been one of those cases you were just talking about. If I wouldn't have gotten
Exactly.
shot or robbed, I
100%.
would have got something that killed me.
Hmm.
I hope they are breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Mm, no, they are.
But
They are.
I'm glad it worked out for you and your everybody.
Mm,
Like that's huge that it just so happened to be that day.
right. Yep.
And did you come to ours? Did you go to rehab instantly or the next day?
Nope. That day.
You went that Friday.
Yep.
Good for you.
Says here in 2018, 2017 and 2018, 44 deaths related to kratom, sometimes used in a combination with
There was
other illicit drugs.
It was actually Logan. You know Patrick. He was telling me. I think it was Patrick. I'm almost. Yeah, it was Patrick. 100%. There was a life coach that had a YouTube channel, and it was no. I'm sorry. Let me get my thoughts straight. It was a reality show on weight loss, and the trainer passed away during the filming of this because the guy that was accepted the challenge to be on TV and lose weight was waiting for the guy to show up one day and never showed up. And it was a kratom death.
That was Tyler Watts. He was working with Mr.
That
Beast,
was it. That was
and
it.
nothing in his system aside from mitragynine or kratom. And that's not even 7-OH. That's just base kratom.
There you go.
Um, and
Because
so,
I step in a lot of Facebook groups and intervene when people are talking about kratom, and everybody's like, it's just with the 7-OH. And
yeah,
yeah, it's not, and I know it's not, but I'm not going to sit here and argue with everybody on social media just
right,
because that's what people do. But like before you come at me, get educated. Like it's not just 7-OH.
exactly.
And if you're doing just kratom and think it's okay because it's not 7-OH, number one, it's not okay. Number two, I will guarantee you will be using 7-OH within the next 2 months.
Right. And the thing is too is that even with regular kratom, it's the same issues with 7-OH in terms of there's no quality control. There's no lab protocols that adhere to. There's no vetting of what chemicals are actually in this. There's very likely to be research chemicals. I'd imagine the labs that they use you know, to essentially make the powder from the leaves of the plant, they're probably not the most sanitary. They probably don't have the best protocols. So you really don't even know what you're getting with regular, safer kratom powder in the first
But in
place.
but in that moment, do you care?
No, not at
No,
all. Give
no.
me as much
You're not
as I
reading
can
the
get.
fine print.
Right, exactly.
You got
It-
you got that shit opened up before you walk out of the store.
yep, exactly, exactly. And that makes me think of another anecdote. So, I'd made some friends, of course, at the smoke shop because when you drop hundreds of dollars a day, the employees become your best friend, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, um, this one lady that worked there, she was telling me stories about high schoolers who went in there and they would take the pack before they left, the entire pack of the 7-OH pills.
And
They
she was
would
just
take them.
fine and dandy selling it to them.
That's it. She just works there. She'd always say that. I just work here.
Yeah, don't shoot the
Like,
messenger.
right. 18-year-old kids, and they're popping them all before they leave the store. You know, it's a hot mess, man. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, like I said, that's why I want to get the word out there. There's some groups where I can argue with people in there, and then you see comments underneath, what you're saying as to the effect of what's kratom, or I've never even heard of that. But some
Right.
of these people could be, middle aged with kids, and I guarantee their kids heard of it. And
Hmm.
if they didn't yet, they're going to.
Right. Exactly.
The odd thing
Exactly.
about this is I think this is one of the first soon to be controlled substances that was not a controlled substance when it came out. Because
Mm.
a lot of the other drugs that people are getting off the streets and pharmaceuticals, they were controlled.
Hmm.
Now we have something that hits the shelves as an over the counter and people are buying it up. And then if they do um, put out litigation on it, you know, it's going to be a hot commodity on the streets. I'll say that. And then they're going to start pressing it. They're going to
Hmm.
start putting fentanyl in it, and then it's going to be even better
Yeah.
to the addict.
Right.
It's going to kill some,
Hmm.
and we're going to be back at square one with a street drug
Hmm.
that everybody heard gives you great focus and keeps you on the ball at work all day. So, everybody wanted this for that, and they might have gotten used to just straight kratom for that effect, using it at their job to be sharp and to be focused and whatever it's advertised for. And then they get used to this lifestyle, and they not might not be one of the regular people that buy drugs off the streets, and they're going to be looking to do so.
Mhm.
Or God forbid, some people are going to get their kids to find them this stuff
Right.
because it happens.
Exactly. Um, and it's tricky too because it's also for older people. It does technically have some medical utility. It can help with pain management. Now, of course, it's not worth the trade-off. It's highly addictive. Oxycodone's great for pain management, but if you give someone a huge script, you're going to be addicted, right?
You're
And
right.
so there needs to be, it's a very, in terms of research, in terms of future remedies for pain, like there's something to be said for it. But it's the way things stand now. It's insane, um, and it's not being used for what it could potentially be the only benefit it could be used for, you know. Um, and so it's a tricky thing, and people always say too that, oh well, it's the only thing keeping me off of fentanyl. Oh well, 7-O saved me from the street drugs. Blah blah blah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't think the answer to your fentanyl addiction is having hardcore opiates around every corner
Right.
for everyone to consume with no age limit, with no regulation, with nothing. Like it's a
Because
it,
when they can't afford the opioids, and who knows what Kratom's going to sell for on the streets. I don't even know what it sells for in a store. But
mm,
as soon as they can't afford this stuff,
Yeah,
heroin's the way.
they'll be
yeah.
right back where they were.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. There's
Well,
really
yeah.
no way to defend it.
I personally, I see a lot of people do the Suboxone route, the methadone route, the Kratom route, um, the Cali Silver route.
Yeah,
In my opinion, in order to be sober, there's only one way, and that's abstinence from whatever you're doing. Granted, I always look at it because I work with people that are in addiction still. So I look at different things that might help them kick this addiction, and maybe we can wean off of another one. Um, if it's not ruining your life, I would look at it. Hey, okay, maybe that's a little bit better than the heroin or the fentanyl,
yeah,
but in the long term,
Your
just
end
being
game is still the same.
exactly just trying to be completely sober off of whatever it is, everything. You know, because we know Suboxone you got to detox of, methadone you got to detox off of, weed you're gonna have a detox off of.
yep,
There's always some kind of detox from it, and the horrible part, it sounds like, with kratom is you got a month-long detox rather than a week or two detox from the other stuff.
You definitely got a
um,
month of withdrawals, that's for sure.
yeah, exactly. So plus all the mental, um you know the what I'm reading here, psychosis, delirium, you know
Did you experience
hallucination.
any of the psychosis?
no. I'm very grateful for that. If anyone would have, I think I would have with the amount that I was taking. I think a lot of it depends on just genetics, your age, your physical health. Because the individual I referenced earlier that was hallucinating, he was an older gentleman. Um, but he was full on, like, I was out in the common area reading, and I hear all this commotion down the hall. He's going into other people's rooms thinking that it's his room and thinking that he's on a boat and like the ocean's out the window. And it's like, this is all from 7OH, Kratom, you know? Um, absolute madness. And the thing too about Suboxone with Kratom is, you know, eh, I personally I don't have experience with taking it for traditional opiates, but from my understanding, um, it really like negates the effect. Like you can't feel them as much. In my experience, I tried to take Suboxone to get off of 7OH in the past, and I remember when I took the 7OH with it, all it did was get me higher.
Hmm.
Like it's that strong, it's that potent where it completely negates any benefit that Suboxone would provide. Um, Granted, it can be used for cravings, but in terms of like blocking, there's no blocking effect. I was also on Vivitrol, naltrexone, after my second stay in treatment, and within under 2 weeks after getting the shot, I took 7OH and I felt it like normal. There's nothing, it's that strong. There's no escape from it. You know what I mean? Like there's no band-aid you can put on it. It's you've got to want it and you've got to figure it out and work the program, and it's just it's unfortunate, but also I do feel it is fortunate because I know that I want it if I can keep this up. There's no, safety blanket or whatever. You know what I mean? So its point being though is that it's that powerful. Um, it's insane.
Well, I'm glad you made it through, um, and you're here to tell your story and share that with everybody out here.
Mhm.
Since you've been in recovery from that, how have you been feeling?
Well, to be honest, this go around, so I've had 3 stays in treatment since July, and after the first one, I didn't think I was an addict. I thought I just got a little out of control. I'll go to a few meetings, but really, and I just made poor decisions and immediately was right back at it. October, I went. The last thing I heard my dad say was, "Get the F out of the house." And for me, hearing that, was especially as close as I am with my family, I thought that was rock bottom. It wasn't. I then did sober living after my stay in October for a couple months and thought that I was good. There's no way I can screw it all up again. Got back home, kind of laxed on the recovery, and I was right back at it. But it only took 2 days the last time before they realized what was up, because it's so obvious now that they know what to look for. So this go around, I went back in January, and I'm doing the sober living for really as long as I can at this point. But this go around, I've basically had a lot of my safety net removed, and I still have the love of my family, which I'm eternally grateful for, which I'm not even sure I'm deserving yet. Um, but at the same time, I've had to really forge my own path here, and like a lot of this more is like, you screw this up again, you're gonna be living in your car, you know. And for me, that's been, although it's been painful, although it's been, kind of grinding, and things have been stressful, it's also been a blessing though, because I needed this and I didn't realize how much I took for granted and how spoiled I was, that not even consciously to subconsciously, the things that I took for granted, the things that I didn't appreciate. This has all been a very humbling, humiliating in a good way experience, which I'm grateful for. And so, long story short, is I do feel good. I've got a strong network in my house. I'm much closer to a lot of my friends now in recovery, and we all kind of help keep each other accountable. But ultimately, it's been my own doing this time, and so that feels good.
Own it.
Uh,
And
yeah,
it's about you this time, right?
right,
Uh,
exactly,
Yeah, you didn't quit for them. You got to quit for you.
yeah.
right, exactly. Because I want to save my life, I want to have a positive impact on the world, and then all that comes after that, not them first. Um, but yeah, I had to learn that the hard way. But everything happens for a reason, so I'm still grateful for it.
100%. 100%.
You're still here with us. That's what matters.
Right.
And you're sober today. You're telling the story. I mean, this story itself. I mean, you could save a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I know Bill's gonna run it as much as he can. Because it does. It's something that needs to be heard.
It
Um,
needs to be heard firsthand from someone that experienced it. And there's not a lot of people stepping forward right now.
no.
Right. Right. That's
Um,
that's that's what I pray for. I
that
wish I
being
would have
said,
had someone. Yeah. Sorry. Keep going.
no, I'm jumping off topic a little bit because I wanted to ask you a question because this is kind of ironic. Is
Okay.
this is the first time you've talked about this in front of a group, right? Outside of recovery.
Yeah. Besides our trip to the school, that was it.
Right. We spoke at a school together, and
Hmm.
this is it. So I just wanted to tell you that, like 2.5, 3 years ago, Rods for Recovery was basically a idea thought up on paper, and some of the motions were pushing forward. And this is the very first place I ever did my very first lead.
Hmm.
So I just
All
wanted to
right.
let you know that this was my first place. I hooked up with Jamie right out of recovery. I can't remember how, but it's
Hmm.
been one of the best things that ever happened. She's awesome. I got to meet Jesse through there, and we've been doing this. And but yeah, this is the first place I did mine. So your future's looking bright. You're
Yeah.
following the
Thank
right
you.
footsteps. I'm just
Thank you.
kidding.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. Oh man.
Yeah, but I got
Well,
Logan
Don,
coming
thank.
out to if anybody watching is from PA, we got Liquid Vibes tomorrow night, my favorite coffee shop. And every third Friday of the month is Dry Friday, and tomorrow we have guest speaker Logan. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to hanging out with you for a little bit before you get up there to speak tomorrow night. Um, and I'm internally grateful for you coming on here and doing this. Like, I know it takes a lot for people to go public with addictions, and some embarrassing things that you went through. Like you said, like I know you, and I know what kind of person you are, and I could tell what kind of upbringing you had, and you were not a kid that went around stealing things and lying to people. And it just goes to show you that you get this substances will control you and change you as a person to someone you don't want to be. You don't even mean to be, but you don't know a different life whenever you're wrapped up in them. And you'll do anything to get that feeling, to chase that high.
No, I
And you're
was.
never
I
good and you're
was
you're never gonna find the same high you got whenever you first did the first drug. But you
exactly.
always want that and you'll always look for it.
Exactly.
That's
Um.
that whole chase,
Yeah.
No,
chasing
it's
the high.
essentially for the past couple years. I've been dead. Like Logan. Logan, the actual person, was not there.
No.
I sent you that picture. I posted it on my story, and I have a printout for tomorrow. I'll hand it around. But I literally look like a different person.
Yes.
Like it's a jump scare.
Yes.
And it just shows that the substance can completely
Yeah.
kill off who you are. Um, but I'm just grateful to be on the other side one day at a time.
Yep.
Mhm.
Amen. Thanks, Logan. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for hanging with us.
No, thank you guys. Genuinely, this helps me more than anything. Just
Preps you
trying
for
to
tomorrow
be.
night too.
Yeah, no, can't wait. Can't wait. Let's go.
It'll be good.
It's
You
Mhm.
going to
know.
be great. But
Yeah, we
anybody
really
out there,
appreciate it.
like if you have kids, talk to them about kratom. Let them know about kratom.
Mhm.
Talk to them about every substance out there, and make sure that they're aware of the harm that these things could cause. Even though the marketing it makes it look like unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah, they're candy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Keep
Yeah.
thinking that.
hmm Yeah. Right. Well,
That's true.
gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I genuinely I appreciate you both so much for this because
Yeah.
there's so much misinformation, there's so much lying, there's so much ignorance that I see every day about it, and it drives me up the wall. Um, especially because I have both ends of the spectrum, the experience and some chemical background. So
Right.
just so much of it is just nonsense. So many lies that are leading people down this path, and I can't stand it. So being able to do this has been a pleasure and honor, and I'm eternally grateful for both of you for that.
You're going to be
Gen-
the kratom advocate of the United States.
Hmm.
So
yeah, I'll be up in Congress.
you're going to be up in the sky with a cape on with a big K on the back of it.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect.
Well, yeah, we thank you. This is. I mean, I'm sure it's an eye opener for so many, um,
Yeah.
especially when you go right around the corner and get it.
Right.
But we're definitely thankful that you're here and sharing what you've been through. That's hard enough. And like I always tell people, if I could share my story one time and help one person, then it's all worth it.
Yep.
You know.
100%. And remember, people, like, this will be the live will be on the feed. Tell your friends, tag your friends, let them get educated. This is good stuff. We all need to hear it. Like, this freaking episode should be on the news. It's so important. But
I
but
One
agree.
yeah,
day.
Logan, I thank you again. I will see you tomorrow. If you need anything prior to, give me a call. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging with us. Tell your friends to check out this live, please. Like, let's get this word out there. Um, we don't need another subject to talk about constantly, and this is leading right up to that.
Yeah.
And it needs to be regulated. It needs to stay away from the kids. like you said, there's adults, there's grown men, there's grown women, there's people relying on this, and it's making their day better at work. And whenever they can't get it over the counter anymore, what are you going to do?
Right.
I suggest you find a way to deal with the withdrawals. Go to a facility if you have to, and get off the stuff now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of just kind of overwhelmed with emotion when you think about all of it.
Yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
it's definitely
I had a weird experience yesterday because I had to go somewhere that I haven't been to for a couple of years, and it was on the other side of Pittsburgh, and I had to go pick up parts for work, and I ended up in a lot of the old territory that I used to drink at, and it wasn't drinking, um, hanging out with friends and everything because I didn't do that. I was a loner, but it was areas I used to work in, and I would leave work in my company truck and go get a 12 pack at Speedway, and I passed that Speedway, and all the little spots that we had to check whenever I was at my career, um, I passed all of them, and that's where I would sit and throw a couple down every once in a while, and it just like I never thought that I would get hit with it like as an emotion, but
Mhm.
you do. And it's weird. Like I was driving around these places remembering all this and thinking, man, like this is it's not like I wanted to stop and grab a 12 pack, but it just really, really it was a lot.
It's a trigger for sure.
It's definitely a
Yeah.
trigger.
And
But I
learning
never
to
thought a
cope through
trigger
it.
like I don't want to say it affected me, but it definitely nudged
Mhm.
me. And I never thought that a trigger would ever bother me to a point, but that really took me back, and it was odd. It was just weird.
Yeah,
Because
you
it
need to
wasn't
have
it wasn't
somebody.
like run in the store and get beer. It wasn't like go hide here and drink it. It was just recognizing.
I think those triggers bothered me the most because I've used in pretty much every little piece of town, and everything like that, and I've had to learn to cope with it. But then it brings back those memories, and it's never, hey, I want to go run back to it, but it is triggering. Like, hey, and I did a lot of drugs everywhere, and I've had to learn to cope with those because I live in the same town that I did all my dirt in, and I work in my other town where I went and got all my drugs, and so I'm always passing something. Hey, I remember this guy running out of the Lowe's with a whole jet pump,
Yeah.
so he could get a
Mhm.
return and get
Yeah.
some cash, so he could get some drugs,
I used to
and
watch
yeah,
people used to shop receipts at Lowe's. Did you ever hear that?
yeah,
If
yeah, and
someone
that's
paid cash for something, they would follow them around outside to their car or whatever. And if they dropped their receipt, as long
yeah,
as they paid cash, they would run in with the receipt, get the stuff off the shelf, and take it up to the return desk. Hey, come on, Logan.
Pretty smart. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
we did some stuff in
Thanks.
our day.
It's good till you get caught.
But yeah, I find all that to be a little bit triggering. I've even noticed certain tones people use
Yeah.
to be triggering, without even
Well,
noticing it.
like as I was saying that, I started thinking like Logan vapes. Logan's going to go into a vape shop. Logan's going into vape shops now. There's a
Yeah.
neon light looking at him when he walks in that says Kratom.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you're gonna. It might not bother you now. It might not never bother you, but it might bother you in 2 years. It took 3 years for it to bother me.
No, it bothers me. I
Okay.
still look.
Okay.
Thankfully, though, I have a
Willpower.
close friend. I have a close. Well, no, not just willpower. That ain't getting me nowhere on my own. But I have
Good
a
thinking.
close friend now who sees my location. I FaceTime her when I go in. It's all good. But of course, at the end of the day, I can turn my phone off. I've done that before. So it's
Right.
it's a constant, everyday battle.
Yeah, it's a
Now with
job.
every day, it gets a little bit easier. But the past couple times, I kind of got to a point where I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm good. It's a constant struggle, and you've got
It
to keep
is.
up the fight,
It's a
or else.
constant struggle, but at the same time, your life keeps getting better.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you have
Yeah.
to see that. You have to see the accomplishment. You have to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It might not come for years. You're
Hmm.
always going to be in recovery. You're always going to work some kind of program in your head if you don't go to meetings. You're always going to have this.
Right.
but at least you could recognize it. At least you have a support system where you could have that check in whenever you're going into a vape shop and when you come out, and you know that if you turn your phone off to go there and buy something, it's wrong, and it's starting to be established in your life enough where it's easier and easier to not do that.
Mm. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's why, like I said, tell your friends, tag them, tell them to watch this,
Yep.
share it, whatever you got to do. Get the word out there. Logan, I can't thank you enough. Our time is up. We're going to be jumping off, but I will see you tomorrow. And again, thank you. Thanks everyone who tuned in. Like, we got to get this out there.
No, thank you both. The pleasure is mine. Truly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we appreciate you.
Right. I will catch you tomorrow. Thank you both.
Yep,
Have a
I'm
good
And,
night.
looking forward to it. It's going to be a good night.
indeed.
All right,
And
thanks, Logan.
have a good night, guys.
All right, you
Thank
too.
you.
Good night.
Good stuff.
That was a fantastic live, and it's packed with so much information.
Yep, a lot of information that people are not aware of,
Exactly.
and that's what makes it so important to get out there. And let's. They have to do something. Congress, Senate, whatever, whoever needs to hear it. Like, somebody has to do something about this stuff. The UK has it banned for a while now. It's banned.
Yeah.
And we need to start like following suit here. But we'll see what happens. Again, thanks a lot. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Um, see you next Thursday.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. And all right, everybody. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Good night.
Good night.